John was born on my birthday in 1977, and that was the best birthday present I've ever had. John was probably the peacemaker of the family. You know, when you have 3 kids and a married couple and lots of things happening, there was a lot of arguments. So John would play the peacemaker. He would try to calm everybody down, and so it kind of led him into the job he does now. I think the proudest moment of my life was when John graduated from the RCMP depot. It was proud for myself, it was proud for his mom, and it was proud for our whole family. I think if his mom Holly was here today, she'd be in total tears. She would hug him until he couldn't breathe. She would tell him that she loves him and that she's very proud of him.
Are we allowed to say she was unexpected?
In the beginning, it took 3 months to figure out that she was with us. So we get this kid home. Now what?
We put her on the couch and stood there and looked at her. She wasn't a quiet baby. She wasn't a quiet baby at all. But she was a sweet baby. In the early years, she liked school.
She's very keen. It was social. She liked the social. She had easy to make friends.
Always had lots of friends. Was always outgoing. And when she came home, and it was after the first weekend in Ucluelet, and she stood in our kitchen and she said to me, "I don't know whether I should say this, but I've met someone." And I said, "You have?" She said, "Yes." And I'm thinking, Ucluelet, summertime, this guy's going to have dreads, and he's going to have piercings, and he's going to wear his pants around his thighs. And I was horrified at the thought. And then she said, "No, he's a police officer." And she met him on a call. And I said, "Okay, just don't fall too hard too fast." And she did.
The first time I met Angie is a story for the ages. It's not necessarily one you tell your grandkids, but it's interesting. I was introduced immediately to her caring and nurturing side because she was working. I was attracted immediately. Her eyes were what drew me in.
And as soon as I saw him, I knew there was something special between us. And we looked at each other and it was almost instant connection.
The only thing I could think of well after that was when I would see her again.
And all I could think about was, when am I going to get to see him next?
My life with Angie, our lives together, started as a long distance type relationship. At the start, we talked on the phone for hours, and having to work night shifts or day shifts, it wouldn't matter. I would text, and after shift, after days or nights, and we would end up talking for hours on the phone. And I'm sure that if I look back at my old cell phone bills from then, that I would have thousands of text messages, either sent or received, back and forth.
I would be sitting at home. It would be a Thursday or a Friday night, and I didn't have to work the next day, and we had nothing planned, so I would just randomly drive to Ucluelet just so I could see him, even if it was just for a couple of hours. And he did the same. He drove down to Nanaimo. Again, if it was he just had a day or two off, he would still come down and wait for me to get off work, and we'd spend every moment we could together. Our first kiss was our second time hanging out, I think, down at Neck Point Beach.
So she took me to a park, a beach in Nanaimo, and I think it's called Neck Point.
And regardless of what he tries to tell you, he kissed me first.
So our first kiss, yeah, we're sitting on a beach, sitting on a log talking and just slowly getting closer and closer. And I leaned in and it just sort of happened, I guess. Our joke is that she kissed me first, but her joke is I did, so. But it was me.
So John and I had been talking about marriage for quite some time, and he told me that we would be getting married. It was just a matter of when the time was right. And I'm not gonna lie, I definitely reminded him almost every day that I really wanted to get married.
I proposed to Angie in totally not the way that I was planning. I bought the ring and knew something was coming in the mail about it, so I had to ask Angie for her post office box key, and reluctantly she gave it to me. Every other day Angie would ask, what's coming in the mail, what's the surprise, what is it?
So I continued to ask him what was in the mail and what was coming. So he got up and came back into the bedroom and got down on one knee and asked me to marry him.